Hi, today what we are going to learn about is how to multiply a fraction by a whole number today. So our focus right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to use an idea of a bicycle race. So let's imagine that a bicycle race is 100 miles long. At the end of day one, Joe has completed half of the race. How many miles should be he gone? Well, let's imagine that this is the bicycle race. So this is start at 0, and this is the end, the finish line, at 100. Well, if he has completed half of the race, well, that is pretty easy. We know that we can just draw a line down the center, and we know that this is about 50 miles. And that's very, very easy to be able to see what is 1/2 of 100. And that is a good way to be able to write a problem like that. So when it says 1/2 of the race, well, it depends on what that race is. In this case, it is 100 miles long. So how is it that you do it without having a line or a kind of a box of that nature? Well, let's talk about this right here. Okay? The way you multiply this is actually very simple. We know that 100 can also be just 100 over 1. And what you do, which is very different than addition and subtraction, is you just multiply across. You would take 1 times 100, which obviously equals 100. And then you would take 2 times 1, which is 2. And then what you do is you say 100 divided by 2 obviously equals 50. And that is how you multiply a fraction by a whole number. Let's use another example. At the end of the day, Bob has completed 1/4 of the race. How many miles has he gone? So we know that there was 100 miles in the race. All right. If we take our same idea of the box, we know this is the starting line at 0. Here is 100. We know by thinking of it as a picture that this is half, this is 50, right? And 1/4 of that is basically like breaking it into fourths. Well, that's pretty simple. We know that it is 25 here, and we know that it is 75 here. And when we know that it is 1/4 of the race, we know that he has essentially just gone that many miles, so we know that it's 25. So we know that our answer is 25. Now that's easy drawing it with a picture. Let's do the same thing with the multiplication as we did back here. So we know that we want to know 1/4 of means multiplication. And of this case, we know it's 100 miles. We also know that we can do it as 100 over 1. We know that 1 times 100 equals 100. 4 times 1 equals 4. Well, how many times does 4 go into 100? We know that that answer is 25. That is the same answer that we got here as we got here. And that is how you multiply a fraction by a whole number.